Hey everyone, I'm in my kitchen, and you might think, why is Miss Sellers in her kitchen? Well, you wouldn't think that the kitchen would be a great place to read a book, but this book I have in mind is actually a great book to read in the kitchen. It's called Apple Fractions, and it's by Jerry Pallotta, and it's illustrated by Rob Bolster. Fractions is a skill that we learn in first grade, and it teaches us how to divide things equally into equal parts. It says, this book is about apples and math. Apples are a fruit that we eat. They do not grow under rocks. They do not swim in the ocean. They are not made in a factory. Apples grow on trees. Thousands of different types of apples are grown around the world. Apples can be red, yellow, green, or some combination of these three colors. Fractions. What is a fraction? Well, a fraction is a part of a whole thing. A fraction is shown by placing one number over another number, and a line separates these numbers. Type of an apple that's really delicious is a Macintosh apple. Here is one whole Macintosh apple. This type of apple can be both a drink and a snack. A Macintosh is very juicy, but it is also crunchy and fun to eat. This kind of looks like a Macintosh here, but this is actually called a Fuji. They're very sweet and crispy. It's one of my favorite types of apples. Now, if you would like to share one apple with someone, what would you do? If there's two kids, but only one apple, well, a solution would be to divide the apple into two parts. A stem for one kid and the apple for the other kid, right? No, that's not fair. That's not what they mean. This is one whole apple. If you and a friend wanted to share, you could cut it in one half. That would be a better way. You could divide the apple into two equal parts. Remember, equal means they're both the same. Here is one half of the apple, right here. I've cut it right down the middle. Here's the other half of the apple. Two kids, one apple, two halves. Sharing apples and learning fractions is fun. All right. This apple is called a Golden Delicious. On the outside, it has a thin skin, and on the inside, the fruit is soft. Golden Delicious. Those are yellow apples. What if three friends want to eat this apple? Three friends, one apple, three equal parts. So there's three friends, and they cut the apple into three equal parts. 3/3 is what we call that fraction. Now here is 1/3 of that Golden Delicious apple. Not all apples have white fruit on the inside, but this apple does. It's kind of like a light yellow, actually. So here are the other parts of the apple that we cut into three equal parts. Here's what's left over from the one whole apple. After taking away 1/3, you have 2/3, or 2 out of 3. So if you have 1/3, which is this one over here, plus these other two, you have 3/3, which equals that one whole apple. And if you cut it 3 ways, all 3 kids would get the same amount, an equal share. Now this is a Granny Smith apple, just like this one I have here. They're green. Is it ripe? Yes. A Granny Smith is green even when it is ripe and ready to be picked off the tree. This apple is sometimes hard to chew. It is not sweet. It's a little sour. Now what if 4 people in a family want to eat one Granny Smith apple? The apple would need to be divided into 4 equal pieces. Each family member would get 1/4 or 1 piece out of 4 pieces in all. The top number of a fraction is called the numerator. This 1 on top, we call it the numerator. The numerator of this fraction is 1. The bottom number of the fraction, the 4 right here, is called a denominator. The denominator tells you how many parts there are in all. The fraction 3/4 has a numerator of 3 and a denominator of 4. 3/4 is what we call that fraction. All right. Now, red delicious apples are also really tasty. Which apple tastes the best? Everyone has a favorite. Many people think the red delicious apple is the best looking and the best tasting. Now it's time to learn the parts of an apple. There's a stem, skin, pulp, core, and seeds. Most apples have about 10 seeds. And I've given you a diagram here. There's the stem. The skin is the outside of the apple. The pulp is the part that you eat. It's usually white. The core is the middle of the apple. And there are seeds in the core of the apple. All right. This is an orange. It's not an apple. It's another fruit that you can enjoy while learning fractions. There's no need to cut it. Under the peel, it grows in wedges. Oranges grow in wedges, so you don't have to slice them. You can just peel them apart. Oranges grow in warm climates like Florida, and apples grow in cold climates. Did you know that? All right, let's see here. Now, it says apple trees grow flowers in the spring, and bees fly from flower to flower and spread pollen on the apple blossoms. This is the start of an apple. Thank you, bees. Without bees, there would be no apples. There's the bee. Now, let's count how many bees there are in all. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 bees in all. See the 6 right here? The denominator in this fraction is a 6 because there's 6 bees in all. 1/6 of the bees, this one right here on the flower, 1/6 of the bees is busy working. The other 5, we call them 5/6 or 5 out of 6. They're busy looking for another apple tree or maybe even a pear tree, a plum tree, or a cherry tree. Goes on to tell about other different types of apples. But I wanted to show you this page. It has apple juice on it. I love apple juice. It's so good. Now, this cup right here is cut into 4 different sections. This much right here we call 1/4 of a cup. Fill it up halfway and you call it 1/2 or 1 out of 2 parts. Fill it up a little bit more and you have 3 out of 4 parts, or 3/4. When you fill the cup all the way up to the top, it's 4/4 or 1 whole cup of apple juice. All right. And that is pretty much the gist of this book, Apple Fractions. And guess what? All of this talk about apples has made me kind of hungry. I think I'm going to have a snack. Tasty. I'll see you guys next time. Love you. Bye.